If you dial in only, you may press *9 to raise or lower your hand. If you are on the desktop Zoom app, you may use the raise hand feature. You may also submit your request to speak by visiting oxnard.org/city-meetings by 3 p.m. the day of the meeting. Because the meeting is electronic, all votes will be done by roll call. And with that, we'll move to our Commission Secretary to establish our quorum.
Chair Chavez.
Here.
Vice Chair Orejo.
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Here. Thank you.
Commissioner Meyer.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Here.
Commissioner Connolly is absent, and we have a quorum.
Thank you for that. We'll now move to our next item, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. And Commissioner Dr. Lopez, would you mind leading us? Thank you for that. We'll now move to our next item, which is public comments for items not on our agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the Planning Commission regarding any item not on the agenda, but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission may do so at this time. However, the commission cannot take action on any items presented during public comments and will be referred to the commission secretary. All public comment speakers will have 3 minutes. Commission Secretary, just to confirm, we did not have anyone sign up.
That's correct, Chair.
Thank you for that. Without objection, we'll go ahead and proceed with our agenda. Our consent agenda is approval of our minutes from our September 1st and September 15th meetings. Commissioners. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I move the approval of the minutes as distributed.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from September 1 and September 15. Can we have a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Orejo.
Aye.
Commissioner Zielsdorf.
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Aye.
Chair Chavez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you for that. We'll now proceed to our next item, which is our ex parte declarations for public hearing. Vice Chair Rejo.
None, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
None, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Meyer.
None. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Nash.
None. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Zelsdorf.
None, Chair.
Thank you. And none for myself. So we'll go ahead and proceed to our first public hearing item. This is F1, project name Eden Road Easement Acquisition General Plan Conformity Determination. This is planning and zoning permit number 22-625-004 General Plan Conformity Determination. This is located at 4300 Olds Road. A request that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution affirming that the City of Oxnard's acquisition of real property located at 4300 Olds Road is in conformance with the City of Oxnard 2030 General Plan and recommending that the City Council order the acquisition. The site is located within the 2030 General Plan land use designation of school and is zoned community reserve in the City of Oxnard. The Planning Commission's determination of whether the proposed acquisition of the proposed easement along Eden Road is consistent with the Oxnard 2030 General Plan is not a project for purposes of the California Environmental Quality Act and state CEQA guidelines. Section 15061B and 3 and section 15378. This is requested by Debbie O'Leary, transportation planner on behalf of the City of Oxnard. City staff person is Joe Pearson II, planning and environmental services manager. The recommendation that the Planning Commission find the project exempt from environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15061B3 and section 15378B5. And adopt a resolution 2022-XX affirming the City of Oxnard's proposed acquisition of the easement located at 4300 Olds Road is in conformance with the City of Oxnard 2030 General Plan and recommending the City Council order the acquisition. As a M. And with that, we'll turn to staff on the item.
Hello, Chair Chavez and Commissioners. So I do not have anything to add at this point, but I do want to highlight that Tatiana Arnaud, our city engineer, is on the call and is also available for questions if you have any of staff.
Thank you for that, and we'll bring it to the commission for any questions. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. In regards to Ocean View School District, I assume it doesn't appear that they had any objections and they actually would like this to happen, correct?
Yeah. So yes, our public works team has been working with the school district, and I believe in the background section, the school district also passed basically approved the relinquishment of the easements.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure there weren't any amendments that weren't in our packet. Thank you very much, Mr. Pearson.
Any additional questions from the commission? Seeing and hearing none, we'll open the public comment for this item. Mr. Secretary, do we have any public comments?
No public comments, Chair.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and close the public comments, bring it back to the commission. Mr. Pearson, just one quick question. This item is more as just a cleanup, right? It's not necessarily a major impact that's going to be affecting this area, correct?
When you say impact?
I mean, our decision today isn't going to affect future development in this area. This is just more of saying this is ours and we're just solidifying that this is our area, right?
So the purpose of this easement, and Tatiana can maybe add some more, is for a future bicycle and pedestrian improvement project. So this easement will allow for that project to move forward at some point in the future. And Tatiana, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, so if I could add a little bit of just what this project is, right? So currently, if you're on Edding Road, there is no sidewalk on that south edge, fronting that school district all the way to Pleasant Valley. So what this project will entail is actually adding a sidewalk, which will obviously improve our pedestrian accessibility to this school, as well as the other schools that are in that area. There'll be some pedestrian crossings as part of this project. So what you have before you is, yes, Chair Chavez, it's somewhat of you could call it a cleanup, but really what we're doing is we want to make sure that we have this continuous sidewalk all the way through. If we don't get this easement, then we cannot put sidewalk in that particular section. So we'll have a weird gap, if you will, in that area. This will also allow us to move the SCE poles that are currently in the way of where we would like to put the sidewalk. This will allow us to move those out of the way so that we have this there. So no, it won't negatively impact any sort of future development. In fact, I would like to say that this is going to be a positive impact for the city of Oxnard, especially our kids that are walking down that way to get to the schools. So hopefully that clears up this question.
It does. Only a follow-up to it is, I remember the commission approving a housing development off of Eating Road that we were requesting that they put in some type of sidewalk. What is the, not impact, but what is the cooperation between us taking on the easement and their part in putting in that?
So this easement is in front of the school district. So it's not in front of the development that you're referring to. So this easement would not impact that development whatsoever.
Got it. Thank you.
Sorry. And Chair Chavez, I was going to add that, yes, the Edding Road development is actually on the north side of that street. So the improvements that they would be putting in would be running along that north side, as opposed to this project, which is along the south side.
Perfect. Thank you. Commissioners, any deliberations on this or a motion?
Chair Chavez, I will move the recommended action.
Thank you. Is there a second? A second by.
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved in second to find the project exempt from environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines, section 15061B3 and section 15-378B5 and adopt a resolution 2022-XX affirming the city of Oxnard's proposed acquisition of the easement located at 4300 Oates Road is in conformance with the city of Oxnard 2030 general plan and recommending that the city council order the acquisition. Is there any deliberation on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Nash,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Zilsdorf,
Aye.
Vice Chair Arejo,
Aye.
Chair Chavez,
Aye.
motion passes.
Thank you for that. We'll go ahead and proceed to our next item, which is item F2. Project name is 911 Dunes Duplex, planning and zoning permit number 21-400-03. This is a coastal development permit located at 911 Dune Street. The applicant proposes to construct a two-story, 5,154 square foot duplex on a 6,480 square foot vacant site located at 911 Dune Street within the coastal multiple family zone. Proposed development includes 2 attached units with each unit size 2,109 square feet. Additionally, both units include an attached 468 square foot 2-car garage. The project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to section 15303, new construction of small structures of the CEQA guidelines. This is filed by Rick Moraga, Morris Dunes LLC. City staff person is Joe Pearson, II, Planning and Environmental Services Manager. The recommendation to the Planning Commission is to find the project to be categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures, and adopt resolution 2022-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 21-400-03, coastal development permit subject to certain findings and conditions. Mr. Pearson.
This Chair Chavez and Commissioners, again, I do not have anything to add on this, but I would like to note that the applicant, Rick Moraga, who's the architect on this project, is also here and available for questions.
Thank you for that. Commissioners, any questions on this item? We'll go ahead and open the public hearing for the public comment for this item. Mr. Secretary, just to confirm, we did not have anyone sign up.
That's correct, Chair.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and close it and bring it back to the commission for any questions, deliberations, or a motion. Ash, followed by Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. Just a quick comment, and it's an aspirational dream of mine to have these projects that come before us that are so ideally suited, being new construction, that the developer, that the builder would provide a dual bypass valve for the shower to divert the gray water into an insect-proof cistern or rain barrel that would be fully capable of watering the xeriscape or the native vegetation. So I know we can't condition it, but it is certainly a dream of mine that someday we'll get to that point. And that's all I have. I will support this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I recommend to my fellow commissioners to approve this project. I believe that the project is in keeping with the rest of the area and that the housing is needed for this area and in Oxnard in general. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any additional comments? I'll be looking for a motion on this item. The Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I move to find the project categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15303 and adopt resolution 2022-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 21-400-03 subject to certain findings and conditions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to find the project to be categorically exempt from environmental review. environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures, and adopt a resolution 2022-XX approving planning and zoning permit number 21-400-03, coastal development permit, subject to certain findings and conditions. Is there any deliberation on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Vice Chair Arrejo,
Aye.
Commissioner Nash,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Zielsdorf,
Aye.
Chair Chavez,
Aye.
motion passes.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and proceed to our next item. Item F3, project name City of Oxnard General Plan Amendment to the 2030 Safety and Hazards Element. This is planning and zoning permit number 22-620-01, General Plan Amendment. Project area located throughout the entire city of Oxnard in Ventura County, California. And I will turn it over to Ms. Mallory to provide additional information on this item.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. Commissioners, since this is a pre-recorded video, we won't go into any details. We're here to answer questions. I want to also introduce Jasmine Kim, our new principal planner with the Long Range Planning and Sustainability team. She's been with us for about 7 weeks. And she moved here from Northern Virginia, very capable, excited to have her with us. She was the lead author on this report, and she'll be assisting with our 2050 Oxnard, our local coastal plan update, and all things long-range planning. So very, very happy to have Jasmine here. With that, we're happy to answer questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Mallory, and welcome. I'll tell these guys to be nice to you tonight. Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Ms. Mallory, as I reviewed the documentation, I didn't see anything in terms of, like, say, a category of peril or other concern that didn't show up there. So as we look at how this plan has shifted over the years and, you know, the nature of the disasters that we face now that are different and extreme versus how they were, is that basically built in, and it's just the focus, the emphasis, and perhaps the funding that's needed to address them is what's really changed?
So, Commissioner, this was an interesting project. To answer your question, there are a set of natural and man-made hazards that the multi-jurisdictional hazard plan has to address. That's a pre-described set of hazards established by FEMA. That document was approved by our council in September. So the range of the hazards is as I've identified in the report. And that really does the list of hazards and the categories to address it really they're a constant, right? We always have earthquakes. We always have some of those horrible things that none of us like to talk about. We also have different man-made based hazards. And so as you look at the plan, the multi-jurisdictional plan on a 5-year basis, you have to look at your overall infrastructure. So we do meet the FEMA guidelines to address your comment, and then we do look at what happens within your community in a moment in time or during a 5-year window. Great example is wildfires. So I think that hopefully that addresses your question. Before the commission this evening is some very specific language, which will help the city be available or make available to the city funding in the event there is a natural or man-made hazard. So this language in SH 4.9 in Chapter 6 and then in the implementation Chapter 9 is very specific language approved by OES and the FEMA entities reviewer. So this important language will help make funding available to the city in the horrible chance that we do need that or a natural or man-made hazard occurs.
Thank you, Ms. Mallory. Is following on that, do disasters related to like the power grid failing for an extended period of time, and other things that, whether they're natural or man-made, could include a terrorist attack or could include just overwhelm from severe weather, for example. Is that built into what we can address here within this plan? Or
Commissioner, definitely. We had an active role with the fire department in looking at that criteria. We looked at some of our critical infrastructure locations in the city. We looked at, for example, and what you're talking about is within the multi-jurisdictional plan. And within there is in the Oxnard specific response, there are areas where we put in a request for generators or pumps to deal with flooding. And in fact, I'm just sharing, it was interesting because when we looked at the criteria, we had to think through with the fire department and with a whole host of city partner departments. We had to look at what was needed to address that issue. And if you don't have it listed, when you need to go for the FEMA or OES money funding, you can't get it. So it's incredibly important. It was a really important document. The city manager's office really, had all departments working on this. So our multi-jurisdictional plan does talk about generators in the instance you gave, and we do identify the needs to be able to protect critical infrastructure and what that looks like in a broad framework, but specific enough to ensure that we get money.
great, thank you.
Any additional questions? Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. To kind of piggyback on Commissioner Meyer, I watched a 60-minute segment about an armed attack on an electrical substation just south of San Jose. So it is a real thing. So our infrastructure needs to be, hardened as much as possible, security ramped up, both from physical attacks and again from cyber attacks, cyber security. I can't stress that enough. And it's not, that's sort of the cost of doing business. So you just had, the public has to accept whatever costs are associated with achieving those goals. And I was a little dismayed, again, aspirational, that climate change was only mentioned once, and that was in resolution 15633. Which to me is kind of, I know it can be a political issue, but we have to move beyond that, and we have to acknowledge the reality of what we're dealing with. So we can't hide from it. We have to acknowledge it, and we have to deal with it. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. This doesn't fall directly under the purview for Oxnard, but if you happen to know, there are several federal government, military bases, and do they fall under the Ventura County unincorporated areas? And I only ask that because as working on one of them, they do have some training and there are some directions in regards to how to get out, at least one of them in terms of a tsunami, and other reasons. The sister base, Point Mugu, China Lake, had the big earthquake 3 or 4 years ago. And so we are very aware of what needs to be done building wise. I was wondering, is there any federal, city, county related relationship? Because it appears that this is sub-county. Thank you.
Chair, Commissioners, as it relates to the multi-jurisdictional plan that was approved by Council in September, it does not include the Navy bases. But I know that we have constant coordination with our partners, and the Navy is certainly in close proximity to us.
And as a follow-up, I assume that for the purposes of getting grant funding, that all of these jurisdictions and only just these jurisdictions are needed in regards to access that grant funding, correct?
If I'm understanding your question, Commissioner, These entities that are listed on page 2 of the report, once they adopt their local hazard mitigation plan, they have the language that we will be hopefully approving this evening, they are able to apply for funding as listed in the report or other additional funding that may come available.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we didn't leave out any entities which may negatively impact us. So as long as no matter what, we pass our portion, even if one or more of the others don't, it's okay for us, correct? In City of
Correct,
Oxnard?
yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mallory, and thank you, Chair. That's all.
Any additional questions? We'll go ahead and open the public comment for this item. Mr. Secretary, just to confirm, we did not have any public comment speakers.
That is correct, Chair.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and close that. Bring it back to the commissioner for any additional comments or a motion on this item.
I move that we adopt resolution recommending city council approval of an amendment to chapter 6 and 9 of the 2030 general plan.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to receive the presentation on the amendment to the safety and hazards chapter 6 and the implementation chapter 9 of the city's 2030 general plan. We had opened the public hearing and received public testimony and adopt a resolution 2022-XX recommending that the city council approval of the amendment to the city safety and hazards elements, chapter 6 and 9 of the 2030 general plan. Is there any deliberation on that motion? Seeing and hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Chair Nash,
Aye.
Vice Chair Arejo,
Aye.
Commissioner Dr. Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Zielsdorf,
Aye.
Chair Chavez,
Aye.
and the motion passes.
Thank you for that. We'll go ahead and proceed to our next item. Study sessions and reports, nothing is listed. Planning Commission business. Commissioners, any business to bring before the commission? Vice Chair followed by Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair. One of my hats is as the chair of the East Village neighborhood. And so if anyone is planning to send their kids or in the future to Del Sol High School, we're going to be having our assistant superintendent of the high school district and our future principal, Dr. Terry Leon, to talk about the impacts of the school and some conversations in regards to the impact to the neighbors. So in regards to the East Village, it will directly impact for sure West Village, Rose Park and La Colonia, and then others outside that area. That's all, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Nash.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. Please, everyone, vote this Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional? Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Chair. Wearing my public health professional hat, I just want to share a reminder with all of us in the public of the expected surge in cases of a variety of respiratory illnesses, including flu, RSV, colds, COVID-19. Given that there's no mandates anymore requiring people to take preventative measures, it's really up to each of us to take the steps that we deem necessary for our own safety. And that's a challenge because it's a two-way street. And if others aren't doing their part, then it makes it harder for us to protect ourselves. So keep that in mind and take the necessary steps to protect you and yours in this upcoming holiday season.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Commissioner Dr. Lopez.
I'll just echo Commissioner Nash's comments for folks. Just a reminder, you have until Tuesday to submit your absentee ballot. Postage is paid. Make sure to sign and date it and just put it in the mail. Super secure and just our civic duty. Second, I really appreciated, I appreciated the items that were before us. First with the easement, just certainly looking to improve pedestrian and bike safety and prepare our community just to be more pedestrian and bike safe, I should say. Really, just appreciate the city being more forward and taking those steps, again, just for pedestrian bike safety. And then with the final item that we had tonight, welcome, excellent job. And I do have to say that any effort to position the city to be better prepared to respond, just greatly appreciate your work and just hope you love it here as much as we all do.
Any additional comments? With that, we'll go ahead and proceed to our next item, which is our community development staff updates. Mr. Pearson.
Chair Travis, Commissioners, I don't have much today. I just want to note that for the upcoming Planning Commission, we will have an environmental document, not as large as the one from the last meeting, thankfully, that will be sent out to you guys ahead of the meeting. So look out for that. It's an M&D for the upcoming U-Haul project. So I'll be sharing that with you guys so that you can start taking a look at that before receiving the full packet. But that's all that I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Meyer, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Just a brief question for you, Mr. Pearson. I noticed that it didn't say interim in the document for you, for your position. Has that changed? Or did I miss that you going from interim to permanent?
So yes, as of the beginning of this month, I believe, I was given the permanent and planning manager position. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Be so modest, Mr. Pearson. Celebrate that. Only question that I had, or more of a request, is that, you know, in the Planning Commission, we have tons of projects that come before us. I would appreciate, if possible, to maybe have a quarterly or at least twice a year updates on those projects, just to see where their progress is at. You know, if it's possible. Again, we see a lot of projects that come up. Sometimes people tend to forget about those projects that got approved months, maybe even a year ago, and they still drive by those vacant buildings or plots of land and they wonder whatever happened to that. So maybe we can get some type of update, you know, either quarterly or twice a month, or twice a year, not twice a month, twice a year. I think it'll be a benefit for us up here, and then as well as for the public, so that they are aware that something is happening, so that they don't think that it just went away. And congratulations.
Thank you. And just in relation to that, so yes, we can look at doing that. But I also do want to note, just for everyone and for the general public, that we do have on our website a project list that we try to update quarterly. So that's another avenue for individuals to go on and look and see. Just kind of gives general statuses in terms of if it's been approved, if it's in plan check, if it's under construction. As it goes through those phases, it's up on our website. But we also look at doing the updates to the Planning Commission as well.
Sounds good. Thank you. Any additional questions? Nope. Well, if there's no adjournment to if there's no objection to adjournment, we will be adjourning to our next meeting, which is Thursday, November 17th, right here in the council chambers. No objections. As always, thank you for the participation of the public. Thank you for the hard work of my fellow colleagues on the commission, city staff for all their hard work. As always, stay safe and have a great night.